Hello to my fellow KW stakeholders. Long time no see. It's, of course, Chief Stakeholder Evangelist for KW, Aaron Kaufman, and newly titled Interim Team Leader of the amazing KW Chattahoochee North Market Center, bringing you another edition of the My 401 KW interview series where we dive a little bit deeper with some of our top profit share earners and thought leaders around KW. And, of course, this afternoon is no different. We have the pleasure of talking to one of our finest OPs. I don't know if that's your title is, Manda, GM.
Yeah.
Master of everything at KW, the fabulous Manda Price out of Wilmington, North Carolina. How are you doing this afternoon, Manda?
Hi, good. Thank you for having me. I love being here.
Having me. I know it's been a long day for both of us, and I'm so grateful that you're taking some time at the end of your day to talk to all of us. You know, before we, jump into profit share and all of our feelings around profit share, we'd love to hear your amazing story at KW. Can you take us back to before you were in real estate, how you got into real estate, how you joined KW, and then share this amazing journey you've been on with our company?
Yeah, thanks. So before real estate, I actually owned my own preschool. I bought a commercial building at the age of 19. And
wow.
Yes, I did some creative financing. It was super fun, did a remodel and launched a building. And before I even knew what a merger and acquisition was, I found myself in the middle of one with a closing preschool and acquired a bunch of their families. And started at 19. And for the first probably 4 years of doing that, I quickly discovered that space would be an issue in the school because your income was directly related to the number of children that you had. And so I started to door knock the commercial buildings around me to see if there was any interest for a possible expansion. And one of the commercial buildings that I door knocked was a real estate office. And the real estate office told me no, because they planned to expand and they weren't interested in selling the lot that they actually had a sale sign on. And that piqued my interest in real estate. I had a friend who said, you're out there door knocking for commercial buildings. Have you ever thought about real estate? And I hadn't, to be honest. And, but I was at a point in which I felt a financial lid on my potential, and it really did create curiosity. And because of that, I took the real estate class and I passed the test, and I started my career at Remax in 2004. Joined a real estate team, and sort of the rest is history.
How old were you when you joined Remax?
I was 24 when I started. Yeah, I sold 36 houses in my first year.
Wow.
And it was, back then in 2004, the market was really hot and felt kind of like the COVID days. And then it quickly came to a halting screech in 2008. And that's when I started to reevaluate my plans for the future. And I made a move to Keller Williams in 2008.
Okay, so let's just go back for a second, Manda, because you're making me think about where I was at 19 years old, and when you said financial lid, all I could think about was how much money I could squeeze out of my parents back then. But at 19, I mean, let's get real. I don't know if anybody else feels the same way on this call, but I wasn't the most mature 19-year-old in the world. So what was it about your background, your family life? I mean, what made you become the 19-year-old that was already thinking about business at a level that most 19-year-olds are it's not even in their world, right? We're in college, or we're partying, and we're waiting tables, and we're doing all this stuff. What was it about your life that shaped who you became at such an early age?
I mean, I came from a long line of hardworking, middle-class, blue-collar family. And I knew what hard work looked like, but I really did want to be the person that sort of broke the chain inside of the family tree, that, we could work smarter, not just harder. And I didn't want to be the person that had to work and then wait to play and afford to play. I wanted to work hard and play hard. And I knew that it was going to have to look different. My parents were amazing parents, but they certainly lived while I was being raised check to check.
Yeah.
And I did want other comforts in my life that would require a different version of what I knew. And so I was, I guess, wise enough at that point to go, let's get to different. I was the first one in my family that, went to college.
Yeah.
I only went to my associate's degree because that's all that was required of me to open
Right.
the school. And
Right.
so 2 years of college. And I don't know, I think it was hunger inside
Yeah.
me that was, really there because I knew how to work. I always
Yeah.
said a blue collar work ethic in a white collar world. And
Yeah.
so how I could out hustle and outwork others around me, I thought over time would pay dividends.
Yeah. I'm thinking of Mo Anderson as you're talking, right?
Yeah.
It's just her story. I know you weren't out there working the fields, but I'm imagining
Yep.
that work ethic and that desire for more. I don't know if that was a product of the people you were spending time with, your friends, if they came from more affluent stuff. Was there anything that you can remember that was really sparked your desire for wanting more, or was just something that you were born with?
I think it's both. I mean, I think
Yeah.
it's, we had friends who definitely from the schools that we went to, and we would
Yeah.
end up in their homes and see what
Sure.
their parents had and see
Sure.
what they were doing. I can remember a really good friend of mine had like every color Ralph Lauren shirt that there was lined up in her closet.
Right.
And I'm like,
Right.
wow, but I think it just was a combination. I also know the thing that my parents did do well for us is that they expected more of us, and I think they pushed for our potential. And so
Right.
even though they didn't get that, I think they wanted different for us. And so
Right.
definitely so grateful for that.
Right. And their work ethic was about wanting more for you guys, right? And you
That's
and you
right.
obviously respected that and wanted to honor,
That's
what
right.
even though they weren't entrepreneurs, right? You saw how hard they were working and you wanted to make that pay off. And so when you got to, let's just go back a little bit. So you did I hear you say you sold 36 houses in your first year at Remax?
I did.
Let's
Yes.
just take a moment there and just talk about how a 24-year-old who
Yeah.
has obviously, I mean, I think we all can pretty much get an idea of how you did it. You were determined, right, to do it. But what was it like how did that happen in your first year? I mean, most agents who've been in the business for 10 years dream of days where they sell in 3 houses a month, what was it that, did you have a great culture there? Was there somebody that took you under their wing? Did you just figure it out on your own? What was it about where you started that really cultivated those sales in your first year?
I was a part of a team, and that that group for probably 3
Yeah,
years in the running had some of the best agents still to this day
yeah,
that were a part of this team. And literally we were working in such tight spaces
yeah,
that we would back into each other when we would move inside the office, and we would hit each other's chairs.
yeah.
But that environment that we were creating amongst
Sure.
each other had a very healthy,
Yeah,
competitive environment.
yeah,
And every day, what the Rainmaker did that I really still admire to this day was there was a high degree of accountability, and they had scoreboards.
yeah.
And what I found is all the A players on the team wanted to be on the leaderboard. And if I
Right.
wasn't in first, second, or third each week that we would get together, I would be discouraged with myself, and I would
Sure.
have to show up differently so that I would move up the leaderboard. And so if I wasn't first, then I'm like, great. So I got to go back and keep
Yeah,
going and get to second or third. And it was such a fun working environment with
yeah,
very, very healthy competition. But we knew, I mean, the person we had to beat was who we were yesterday. And
yeah,
so we just had to wake up and do it again. And we treated it like a job. We
yeah,
came in, we did our daily 5 things that we knew we needed to do, and then we were off and running. And coming out of owning my own business, I knew that I had to still treat it
yeah,
as as a responsibility in the day to day. I think a lot of agents showed up in the career thinking they were going to get freedom,
Right.
but freedom was earned. And so we just did a really good job of pushing each other, holding each other accountable. And the conversations that were surrounding us were really fun. So we were the number one team in the area for 3 years running. And then we sort of started to break from there. And that's when I went out to be an individual agent.
That's amazing. I think about, like, I've been kind of on my own for 20 years, doing my thing. And, the last month and a half, I was lucky enough to join, with Andy and Leslie Peters and Laura Donna and some of the amazing leaders and agents that are in this group here. And I can already tell you within, a month and a half, how much my world has expanded and how much I've gotten out of my comfort zone. And so obviously who you surround yourself with matters. You were fortunate enough to be in a group that unlocked a whole nother level of achievement, even though you had that inside of you. So you were there with them for 3 to 4. You said 4 years. You were on this
4
team?
years total at Remax. I went individual going into year 4. I went as an individual agent, still at Remax, and that's when Keller Williams called and said, "Hey, have you thought about a plan B?" They were new in the market. And they were only 2 years old by the time I had made the switch. Took me 2 years to get over. And I never looked back since 2008. I've been with the company.
So talk about those conversations. So, I mean, you had, first of all, what made you branch out from the team? And was that just something that you felt like you'd reached a ceiling for yourself and you wanted to take what you learned and do it yourself and build your own?
I think it was time for me just to go build a different muscle and go and show up in a different way. I had a great experience, valued my time with them, and then decided that it was, maybe I can go build my own team. So I went as an individual agent first. I did meet several times with the owner of that firm, and I kept saying, "Hey, like, I know that I'm a great salesperson, but I want to level up my business." And I was getting promises that they were going to continue to meet with me, and I would have to remind them, "Hey, when are we meeting again? Hey, when are we meeting again?" And so I think that frustration started to couple with the calls from Keller Williams. And frankly, what I did first was I called an agent. Her name is Jeannie Van Sickle, and she's my sponsor. And I called her and I took her to lunch. I wanted to hear it from her. I didn't want to hear it from the team leader. I wanted to know what was her experience. She had been in the business for a really long time. I always respected her and I valued what she had to say. And I think that third party endorsement was such a big deal for me. And then I had the conversations with the team leader, asked the questions that I needed to know the answers to, and that Jeannie maybe couldn't answer. But I bought her lunch that day. And then it's so fun. And then when I joined Keller Williams, I named her. It's a funny story on Jeannie. When I became the team leader, she was just sick about it because she's like, "Oh no, you're not producing anymore. And there goes my profit share." You really just don't understand how this works.
Well, as most people in Keller Williams don't know how it works.
No,
even 40 years later, we're still, people are, and we'll get more into that in a little bit. That's why we're doing these calls, because I just love the fact that, we've grown and taken over the industry without most people even understanding really, the catalyst for a lot of it. But so when you came to KW, you were on your own. You joined KW as your individual agent. How fast was it before you took the team leader position? And why did you take the team leader position, being such an entrepreneurial, business-minded person? I mean, I think I know what the answer is, but what was it? How did that conversation go down? How did you talk about your transition from agent to team leader and what that looked like?
Yeah. So 2008, I made the switch over. That year, that following February, I was awarded the Regional Rookie of the Year for Mid-American, and the market had really hit a halt. And
yes, I remember.
Yeah. So we were having a ton of fun, but I was still selling real estate, and people were a little bit blown away at the number of sales that we were having. I recall that December in the winter of Illinois, I had 14 closings. And I was tapped on the shoulder to be on a panel going like, "What are you doing? Because we can't we want other people to do what you're doing." And literally the product of a preschool teacher, my answer was like, there's a bunch of Eeyores walking around. You need to be Tigger, because if
Yeah,
we're telling everybody that the market's bad, that's what they're going to believe.
sure.
And so I found a lot of investors that year that were finding opportunity. And I was really focused on people building wealth at that time and then helping them do more of that. It was a university town. And
Yeah,
so we were to some degree a little bit insulated because we did have the university with us. But then in 2010, they experienced a transition with a team leader. They had a vacancy. And I was on the ALC that year, and I had several people going, will you please apply? Will you apply? And I'm going like, why would I do that? I know what they make. Like, I'm making 4 times that, 5 times that. Like, that's just crazy. Well, I didn't know what I didn't know. And my operating principal, who's still our OP there today, is Scott Bechtel. And Scott did a good job. He followed the process and he said, hey, let me just take you through what we used to call the AVA, which is the recruit select process. Today it's career visioning. And he took me through that entire process and he followed it by the book.
yeah,
And all of a sudden, like, there was something inside of me that was lit in following through that I actually felt pretty validated on who I was
yeah,
and what my strengths were and how honestly I could help more people in
yeah,
the team leader role than I could help by selling homes. Selling homes was helping one person at a time. My best year was 72 sales.
yeah,
I'm like, okay, well, I can help 72 people this year, but how many more people could I help if I were to be the team leader? And I
yeah.
could multiply that. And so I just felt really compelled to want to help as many people as I possibly could. And that was the vehicle to do it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So talk about your journey. And by the way, did you even understand at that point? I'm sure Scott probably communicated to you was, the opportunity. And I know you're the kind of leader that wants to grow their office through their agents. Okay. But obviously, look, leaders have the opportunity to build their profit share. Or one of the reasons, people take these positions is for that opportunity. Did you fully understand even before you took the position, what?
I don't know that I knew that
Yeah,
it was probably going to be a byproduct of it, but
yeah,
I also knew, I was going to grow the company faster through
yeah,
my agents.
yes, of course.
And I was in relationship with a lot of people. We were in an MLS of like 420 at the
Oh,
time.
wow.
So we were going to have to grow our own. And
Yeah,
so we had to be really strategic around that. But we were Keller Who still then.
yeah,
And, we were number 4 in our market when I came on as the team leader. And, we were still sort of climbing then.
yeah.
Today, they're number 1 in the market. When I relocated to Wilmington, we had 33% market share with 15 of the top 25 agents out of
Wow,
that MLS. And
wow.
so we built a powerhouse, and profit share was, it was the gift
Yeah,
that, we got from just having the
sure.
conversations. And I felt a deep responsibility to tell as many people as I could about Keller Williams. And there were people who, they did want to name me at times, and I asked them to name somebody else. I always did the right
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
But because of the role, for sure, my profit share tree did grow.
Well, Amanda, let's get real. The more you grow it through your agents, the easier your job gets,
That's
right?
right.
Because
Oh yeah.
now your agents feel like they're vested financially in the success of the office, and they
Yeah.
probably are going to be more purposeful about sharing the story because they feel like a partner, right? A financial partner in the business, right? So and as a byproduct of that, you're going to end up attracting people that don't have relationships with people at KW. So what was your big kind of aha moment? Because I know that, profit share has been this thing for you. I think you've made over, I think about $150,000 in profit share lifetime, which is great. Not the reason you took that job, but what was there a light bulb moment for you for the profit share aspect of KW? Because I know a lot of people it's sort of a secondary thing that we don't really talk about. It's not really a part of, certainly not a part of recruiting presentations at a high level. Is it something that how did you start stoking the flames of profit share? I mean, obviously your agents are excited about referring people to the office because they're having a high level experience there. But were you having conversations about profit share and what it can look like financially with your agents as
Yeah,
well?
it was funny because back when, we weren't sharing a lot of
Right.
profits,
Right.
and when we were Keller Who, and yet people were more excited then than they are today when
It's
we have
funny.
real profits that we're sharing.
Yeah.
And so, but we used to just do fun things. We would
Yeah.
celebrate. We would give out fake checks.
Yeah.
We would, we used to calculate, look how much money you'd have to have in the bank
Right.
just to get this dividend. And so we would do exercises. We would teach the classes. We would celebrate them when they would refer.
Yeah.
And so we really did, for me, I don't know why, but I had a benchmark plan. I had a goal for myself that I would
Yeah.
get to at least 10 income streams, 10 income streams, because for some reason that was just the first number that I wanted to hit.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I want to keep that growing. And for me, I wanted other people to start thinking that way. I wanted them to start thinking about how could you get your passive income to exceed your active income.
Yeah.
Most of us have never experienced an agent retirement party, because most real estate agents die before they retire. And so, and that's sad to say, right? Because they're not thinking of it as a business.
Right.
And so I knew that so many of them did not have a plan for additional income to be coming in past the retirement phase that they had. So when they took their last listing, it wasn't their last paycheck. And so I felt a responsibility to educate people around it. For me, I think it started to get very real when, it was like, oh, $500, like, oh, here's $1,000. And I mean, you think about that. And I went through a divorce. And, when you go through that divorce, all of a sudden life gets real because, you're all of a sudden there's no two breadwinners at home. There's you.
Right.
And so you have a bigger responsibility with 3 kids that you need to provide for. And so I never wanted there to be a sense of insecurity for my kids. And I knew that this was a gift that we all had access to. And why wouldn't we take it serious? And so I think it was probably a culmination of those events that got me there.
Well, right. And your life story too, right? I mean, you remember back what, you didn't want to repeat history. Not that you were going to repeat history, but you knew that, this was a part of your DNA by this point, right? Of leaving a legacy for your kids and all that stuff. And so today, I mean, Wilmington, is one of the top most profitable market centers at KW. Obviously, we're in a moment as an industry and as a company. We know that things are dipping a little bit, but I know you and I both see it as an opportunity, right? I mean, you joined KW in 2008, right? Your office wasn't that profitable. So what do you, because, what I worry about, Manda, is that, as profit share has dipped around the country in some areas. I mean, obviously here in Atlanta, it's still a very vibrant part of KW, but in many places around our company, they're not profitable or they're less profitable than they were. And the enthusiasm around profit share as a conversation or even just a part of day-to-day life in some of these offices it's almost like it's not even something that even exists anymore. So as someone who has seen it from the bottom up, okay, and now is in this next shift, I mean, what are some of your thoughts to our owners, our leaders around this company that don't want to talk about profit share, I know that's not, look, agents want to sell houses right now. We all understand the lawsuits and the priorities of where we are as a company, but I worry about if we don't talk about it enough, right? Like where is this going to be in 10, 20, 30 years, right? Like I care about where this is going. It's not about my next check. What are some of your, if you're talking to an OP of an office that's not profitable right now, or a team leader of a turnaround market center, what are your conversations with them to get their office more profitable and to get agents thinking and more excited about profit share? I know you talked about some examples, but if you were on a panel in a room of leaders, which I'm sure you've been on before, and the conversations about profit share, what are your thoughts to those people about how to kind of reignite the passion around it?
Yeah, I think, there's a lot in that, right? I think first it's going back to the why are we doing what it is that we do. When we signed that franchise agreement, we went into an agreement that we were going to share back the profits with our agents so that they can be stakeholders.
Yeah.
When Gary, he sat his top agents around the table and he said, what do we have to do to build a company that you never want to leave?
Yeah.
And, and he listened and he created profit share. And so these are stakeholders with us. And so I think we need to lock arms and become partners again with our agents. I think we need to be open and honest and transparent about what's happening inside of our ecosystem. They're feeling a compression just like we are as leaders. We feel the compression. And so I think having an open, honest dialogue with your agent. We've done town hall meetings. We've had our ALC engaged. We're involving them in our strategic plan. And, I sat at Recharge, the very first Recharge that Diana Kokoska used to host, and she had Mo Anderson on as a guest. And she asked Mo, what is culture? And I was ready for some kumbaya, warm, fuzzy feeling activity that she was going to give us. And she said, darling, culture is profit. And I was like, wait, what? And she's like, yeah, culture is profit. And she said, let me explain. The more profit you have, the more people you can help.
Yep.
And so we have a responsibility to be in profit, and we have a responsibility to profit share. And I think that we need to lock arms with our agents again and start treating them like stakeholders.
Yeah.
Look, the reason that I made the switch to Keller Williams is because I went from being a salesperson to a business owner with them. And they want to be partners with you. They want to have other income streams. We want other income streams, and it directly impacts the people we're leading and our future. And so we have such a responsibility to get it right. We've experienced setbacks and profitabilities because sometimes I think that we want to try to be like the other companies.
Yeah.
And that comes at a cost because our model does not equip us to do that. And so we need to go back to the models.
Yes.
I
love
believe
you say that. Yeah.
Yeah. I believe, there's the 33 points of the economic model. When's the last time most of these leaders have pulled that out and looked at it? When is the last time they reviewed that with their ALC? I also think that right now is an exciting time. For a little while, I think that some of us allowed our market centers to lose its swagger, and we weren't seen as sexy anymore.
Yeah.
And so there were these companies coming out that were sexy. They were TikToking, they were on yachts, and they were doing all the things, right? And that became, that was an energy that they created. Yeah. And I think it's up to us to get sexy again and to bring and make KW, recreate the KW that we know we are. But it's on a local level. Right. We can't keep thinking that KWRI is going to solve that problem from Austin, Texas. It's a local real estate market driven by local leaders. Nobody's coming to save you. Take control and go back and make your company sexy again, because we are sexy. And what I'm most excited about right now, more than ever, is that in 2024, training is good again. Training matters again. Consulting matters again, because we just can't fog a mirror and sell a house.
Well, and culture matters again. Yes.
That's right.
Right.
So I think that our value proposition is more relevant than it's ever been.
Yeah.
And right now is our time to be the lighthouse in the real estate industry and lead the way. And that's what we're doing in Wilmington right now. We're literally leading the way and navigating the NAR changes, navigating the way the industry is going. And we're doing, where the market is leading. That's our vision. And we're not number one in our local market. We have opportunity. And so I'm excited again. And I think we need leaders to be excited again. Yeah. And we need our agents to get on board with that and be partners with us.
I love that, man. And, Gary says it best: the greatest shift of wealth and opportunity are in down cycles, not up cycles. And, I would think in this moment, a training and consulting company that has a culture where agents have an incentive to work together and care about each other, in an industry where there is no incentive for them to do that, and that includes rev share companies. I would think that would be a huge advantage for us. But the key, obviously, for us, Manda, is that it takes a village, right? I mean, It takes abundant owners, it takes servant leaders, and it takes the agents to buy into it. And, my concern, obviously, is that, we're on the third generation of Keller Williams now, right, man? And I keep saying this over and over and over again, but it's true. I mean, how many people are in business with KW that know what it's like to be Keller who? That knows what it's like to be in a room with Mo and Gary, you know, or even know who Mo and Gary are, you know. And so
Right.
that's what I love about what Mark Willis is saying now, you know, that he's back. You know, we got to do less more, you know, we got to get back to the basics, right? I mean, when we do us and we do our model at the highest level locally, there is no other real estate company that should be able to compete for the agents that value what we value. And the fact is, not every agent values what we value, right?
Yeah.
Some agents want to be the cheapest place to be a company, be an agent. Some agents only care about what kind of check you're going to write them, or promises of rev share, and that's okay. We don't need to be in business with all of them.
That's right.
We just need to be in business with the agents that value what we value. So let's talk a little bit about, you know, just your conversations. And look, this is obviously my 401kW conversation. Obviously, as a leader, we understand, and as I'm learning, you know, like nobody in this office is you know, is as excited about profit share as I am, of course, right? They're trying to sell houses, they're trying to survive, and I'm trying to, you know, galvanize a community here and make people understand that they're part of something bigger. And if we work together, you know, we'll all accomplish more. But is that a part of your conversations? I mean, not just the profit share money, but what it means, like you keep saying that, what it means to be a partner, a stakeholder. Is that a part of your conversations with your agents, your ALCs, and trying to foster that partnership from the agent side?
Yeah. So way back when I learned from Mo, the focus on 15 first. And so, you know, we've talked to people about like get to 15 and then, you know, it'll go deep over time, but focus on that 15 first. And so we keep focus on 15 forms handy. We're constantly coaching them to refer. So it is a conversation that needs revisited and reminded because people do get busy. The other thing too is, you know, I learned from Gary with the 3 L's: leads, listings, and leverage. And, you know, a lot of people think that the triangle is the arrow goes one way, but Gary's talked about, look, it actually goes both ways. And when you're lead generating for listings, you should be lead generating for leverage too. And leverage means talent. And so what are the talent conversations you're having that you could be putting into your profit share tree? What are the relationships that you're building with people that are already in real estate or not yet in real estate? So I just think it's what, you know, the bold law, what we focus on expands. And so we have to keep the conversation going. I too worry about who doesn't know who Mo Anderson is. It's a big number that blows my mind. So, you know, we used to do fireside chats in the market center where we'd go back and we'd tell our story. Here's how we started. I mean, in Champaign, I still recall the stories that, you know, Scott and the whole crew would tell there about working on crates, because they had no furniture that hadn't yet to be delivered when they opened down there, and the energy that they created around that. And it's like, so everything is energy. How do we keep bringing it back? I also think that top producers want to be in business with other top producers.
Absolutely.
And so who are we not yet inviting to the Keller Williams family or to the conversation? I'm blown away at every family reunion. They interview top agents that have just joined us in that last year. The number of top agents that say, nobody called me. Nobody called me. That blows my mind. And it breaks my heart because I think, holy cow, like we could have been helping them all this time. Who aren't we having the conversation with? Who can we be helping right now? And, you know, as servant leaders and servant agents that are out there, I mean, it matters. In Champaign, 1 in every 3 signs is a Keller Williams listing. You go on an appointment and it's signed here. You're hardly interviewing because you have such validity. And so you can build that in your market and take market share of those size numbers. It makes your business easier too. And the byproduct is profit share, which is just your reward. Yeah.
And that's something I'm really, obviously here in Atlanta, we have the same vibe here. I think KW does as much business as the next 4 competitors combined, right? But we get kind of lazy sometimes with telling the story, right? We assume everybody must know who we are, that everybody's been spoken to. And so, that gets me excited, because the truth is, if they had been spoken to the right way, They'd
Yep.
probably already be here by now, is my guess.
Yeah, I think when a KW launches, what happens is that we all get so excited and we go up and we throw Keller Williams up on
Yeah.
them. And so then that we shut them off. And
Yeah.
so, we need to really start coming from a place of contribution and curiosity, asking questions. Personally, I think events are the best leverage
Absolutely.
that we have as a company because of our training and because of the events. I mean, I have had a lineup of superstars come into Wilmington this year,
Yeah.
and agents, they'll come to that and their guards drop down. And so that's such an easy invitation to anybody listening. We have guests at our sales meetings. We have guests that come to regional events, go to national events, and the conversion rate on events alone are huge. So it's not as if you need to be a recruiter, which, by the way, is what makes it passive. You refer to your team leader and you let the team leader do the recruiting while you're selling houses. But it's relate first, understand who they are, ask questions, and then refer them.
Right.
And then you let the team leader do the work. And that, to me, is our unique abilities. And, we have trained people to do this.
Yeah.
I've got friends at the other companies right now, and I'm watching their business go backwards because their energy is being spent on recruiting.
Yeah.
And instead of selling homes, and we can do that for them. You just need to refer to us. And so I just think agents have to remember that. I've got a top agent right now. He's the number one individual agent in our market. I think he's sold 130 houses already this year. And at every closing that he has, he'll kind of nudge them and he'll go, man, you could have 100% of that money. You should take Manda's call. And then they chuckle and he's like, no, I'm serious. Like, you should really take Manda's call. So then he puts him in a group text with me and said, I told so-and-so that you're going to call him. I call him, I sign him up. They're in his profit share tree. And so just that little bit of validity that comes from that number one agent referring them to us does the heavy lifting. And so that's all we need. And then the rest is, the rest happens. So
I love how you say that. You said the key word there, which is passive, right? Which is,
yep.
There's a lot of, we've spawned off some copycat companies that like to pretend like their models are the same as us. But the truth is there's a major difference on multiple levels between profit share and rev share. And look, guess what? Rev share is really sexy because it doesn't take into account the profitability of the company, right?
That's right.
So I wish we all had the freedom of not caring about profitability as a company. But the other side of it, Manda, is that, as Cody Gibson, I heard him say this recently, when you attract an agent or recruit an agent to a rev share company, you get a job. And every time you recruit somebody, you get another job because they're not a training and consulting company. And it's really their job to train and nurture these people. And I think that the big distinction here, among many other distinctions between profit share and rev share, is that profit share is 100% passive. I mean, Gary, I could not have smiled bigger than when I saw Gary on the growth call when they celebrated our $2 billion profit share mark, when he said, and he has a way of saying things in a very harsh way, but he says, I honestly don't care if you ever speak to them again. We want you out there selling real estate. Now, Amanda, that's a Gary Keller, statement. But I think the point that people need to understand is, of course, we want you to love on the people that you bring into KW. That's just smart business. Okay.
Yeah.
But it is not your job to train and nurture them. And for all of you listening, your sponsors don't owe you anything. Okay. They attracted you to the best place to be a real estate company. But I think the key here is that it's passive. It's 100% passive. And I think that's a big distinction that is not being made between profit share and rev share, is that I would rather make $100,000 without getting out of bed than $200,000 and have to spend 40 hours a week training and nurturing people that need my help.
That's right. Yep.
So,
and let the market center be your partner in that. And I think that's, that is whatever market center they're going to go to, because it does, it's anywhere in the world, right? You can count on the model doing the heavy lifting and you continuing to sell real estate. And it works because our agents do sell real estate. And so, there is a lot of profit to share for that reason. And I think it's fun. And I also think that you can change the energy of your office by just being in business with the right people. And so, they say the grass is greener where you water it. Well, this is your opportunity to do that. You get to choose who you want to be in business with when you refer them to the team leader. And so, and you get to change somebody's life. I mean, this company has literally changed my family's tree. And so it's, you know, it's the gift that you get to give to somebody. And that's really, it does end there. Then it is on the market center from there. You did the introduction.
Yeah. And, you know, you lead me to another thought, which is, you know, I personally, I mean, look, we all get gross recruiting. We're always going to have attrition. We understand the importance of attracting new agents. But if we would just take a moment and look at our rosters and understand that if we could just turn our non-cappers that we already have into cappers, like your company dollar and profit share would explode, right? Like we have to remember that when we get caught up in the numbers, the fact is that has an effect on culture too, Manda, because, you know, there's something I talk about in my class about, there's a great business concept that it costs any business 7 times more money to acquire a new customer versus retaining an existing one. I mean, obviously the same thing applies to agent retention. Not only is it going to cost you more money, it's going to cost your culture more to keep bringing in new people and baptizing them to the KW values and the culture when you could have kept the people that you already had and raised them up. And I think, you know, the messaging that I'm always trying to get across to people is, no, we get it. It's passive income. Right. But the fact is you're a stakeholder, you're a partner in this business. And whether or not somebody's in your profit share tree or not shouldn't matter. If we can help another agent in our office sell another house, be more successful, right? Stay in the business.
But really, Aaron, it brings us, and it brings us completely full circle to my first year in real estate when I said that I sold 36 houses because of the people that I was bumping into in the office, right? And so why wouldn't you want to create that environment? Why wouldn't you want to create that environment and engineer that? Because you're a product of the ecosystem that you live in each day. And so if you can change that environment, I mean, I'd much rather hang out with a office full of hungry, humble, smart agents than I would any other office. And so engineer it. And then all of a sudden, all the tide rises as the boat rises. And so therefore, so does your business. And so it's just, to me, it's, you know, it's a product by like osmosis. The more that's the dialogues I'm surrounding myself with, that's the conversations I'm creating. That's the culture that I'm creating. And so I want to be a part of engineering that. And, you know, obviously it's my responsibility now as a leader, but as an agent, why not?
So I'm just curious, are there any, just to kind of take it back to profit share, is there any stories of profit share in your life, in your downline, in your market center, where profit share has, you know, made such a huge impact in an agent's life? I don't think people understand, you know, how much of a difference profit share makes. It's never about how much I've earned over my life. It's always about a moment, right? A moment in time when, you know, you're in a desperate situation and a profit share check pops up. Do you have any stories of how profit share has, you know, changed an agent life or saved them from a moment? I don't know if there's anything that jumps into your mind. I'm just curious if it's something that a story of profit share out of your market center that, or a legacy that was left, or a, you know, a bigger story of profit share that's come out of your experience at KW.
Yeah, I mean, so many things come to mind. Several people have talked to me about how, you know, they were just making ends meet that month, and then profit share came and it made all the difference. I've had people who have been able to say yes to helping their parents through assisted living, through profit share. Personally, my upline, there was a fun story where she went on a trip and the entire trip was paid for, unbeknownst to her, through the profit share deposit that she got while in Europe. And that deposit came through. And so that's so fun for me because I'm like, what a gift that I got to give. And then myself personally, I mean, I have 5 children blended now. And, you know, we have 3 remaining in college, and all 3 of them will graduate debt free because we do have this gift. And just recently, my son plays baseball at Virginia Commonwealth, and he got a late offer to join the team. They were out of scholarship money, and it's an out-of-state tuition of $40,000 a year. And I was able to say yes to that because I knew that I had a peace of mind that I could get profit share to help cover my half of that tuition.
I love that.
And so, that's a big deal for me to be able to do that. And I don't want my kids to be silver spoon by any means. I had to pay for college, but the world we live in, it was a very important for me to see the kids graduate debt free so that they could become homeowners early and so that they could start out on the right foot. And so it's made these small differences throughout, and then really big difference to be able to put 5 kids through college with the peace of mind because of profit share. So, amazing. I mean, we've been just incredibly blessed from it.
I had the privilege to go out to dinner with Gene Rivers after career visioning.
Yeah,
a bunch of top leaders here. I just remember him talking about how that's his big why. He owns 10, 12 businesses. I mean, I can't even imagine what his net worth is, but his why is crystal clear. It's about his legacy. It's about giving his kids, his grandkids a chance to be whatever they want to be. And you think about what a privilege that is, right? What a legacy that is for your kids to be able to decide what they want to be without having to do something for the sake of doing it. And look, that's what drives me in profit share. It's never about the dollar amount. It's about the fact that I'm trying to create a life by design, right? Where I get to decide what I want to do because I want to do it, not because I have to do it, right? And passive income obviously is a huge part of that. So as we kind of wrap this up,
I don't like the word retirement, but I do like the word optionally employed. And there's going to be a time in my life that I know I'll never not work. That's just not who I am. But I do want to have the ability to go take 3 months and check out and go see the world and know that there's a financial security behind that. And to me, if profit share can fuel that, what a great gift, right? And then of course I have other income streams that I have plans that are coming in, but why would I not? I mean, I don't understand. Take advantage of this gift.
Yeah. So let's just finish this with, let's just say a top, and you've kind of talked a little bit about this, but you're meeting, an agent comes to you in your office. They say, look, I want to get purposeful about profit share. Besides just, hey, give me a name and a number, which obviously, by the way, works amazing for those agents that are in an office with a leadership team that supports them at a high level. But what other things do you tell your agents who, want to get purposeful about profit share? What can they do purposefully, besides being a great agent and being someone another agent respects? Do you talk about this at a higher level when agents come to you and they say, look, I want to get purposeful about profit share? What are you telling them in addition to what you've said so far? Is there anything other things that you give them, or strategies or mindsets, anything like that?
I had to laugh because you said besides being a great agent, and one thing, that does include return calls, answer the phone, give feedback on feedback requests. Those little things actually do add up. There's a compound in that. But I truly, truly think that events is one of the best things, education and training, because if you're already going, each one, reach one. That's a theme I've had in the past. Yeah. Bring somebody with you. Don't go anywhere alone. If you're going to go out to lunch, don't eat alone. Grab the MREA book. I still think it is the best blueprint for business and completely relevant today. And bring it. Give somebody the gift of the MREA book. Invite them to a training event. We've got agents who put masterminds together all the time. Organize a mastermind and get in the room with them. Different things like that I think are so simple, and you can't pour from an empty cup. And I think a lot of people right now are feeling tired and, they get worn out. Well, the way that you refill your tank is by giving back to others and showing gratitude. Truly, it's crazy how that works. And so if you can invite somebody to come along, your cup gets full and so does theirs. And then you can help each other out. We need community again. I think we lived in a really isolated time, which is why the other companies were so well timed,
Totally agree.
because people didn't think they needed the brick and mortar. But right now, people need people more than ever. And, we're supposed to be united. We feel a little divided. And the way to get back together right now is community, culture, events, and just collaboration, man. I mean, there's nothing better than walking through a market center where you see agents of all levels of production sharing with one another. And that's a place that I want to do business, and place, I'll be for life.
Yeah, I love it. And, you're speaking my language, as you know, because, the two words that have come out of my mouth over the last couple of years in my class has just been purpose and community. And, we don't talk enough about, when I ask people about, I bring up command or, our technology, and they roll their eyes. And it's like, listen, guys, you have to understand, this is the long game, right? We're playing the infinite game. And so instead of rolling your eyes, why don't you understand that we need your help to grow it and evolve it, because there's a bigger game being played right now. And I just wish more of our agents understood, more, not just our agents, but agents at other companies understood there's only one company fighting for the future of your profession. And, we tend to not talk enough about who Gary Keller is and what his why is and what we're doing as a company. Yes, we're here to help you sell more houses, but if technology is going to replace you someday, you're not going to sell a lot of houses. So I think we also need to have that conversation about purpose too, that look, yes, our tech is going to grow. It's going to get better. But the more of our agents that understand why we're building it and what our purpose is and how that's tied into the game that KW is playing, is that, look, there are cheaper places to be agents. There are companies out there right now that are write you a blank check or make, tout how much you can make in rev share. The question's going to be, where are they going to be in 10 years or 5 years, right? KW will always be the long game. And I think we need to make sure that we're telling that part of our story too, because, that's what lets me go to sleep at night. I understand we're in a moment, right, as a company, and profit share is kind of, is slowing down, has slowed down a little bit. But if you understand who we are and where we're going and why we're doing the things that we're doing, and you get that and you participate in it, you feel compelled to want to share this with other people, not just to help them, but to help our industry, right? Every agent we attract to KW is another stakeholder in the fight against tech disruptors that are trying to turn you into low-paid functionaries. And I just wish people understood that, that this is a much bigger game than rev share, profit share, where's the cheapest place. This is about the long game. And there's only one company, I believe, that's privately held still, that's fighting that battle. What are your thoughts about that?
Oh, I mean, 1,000% agree. That I think that agents on accident, they get a bit narrow-sighted, and it's like, you've got to get you're thinking about a year, not a career.
Exactly. I love that.
And you've got to be thinking about the fact that you are in this for a career. At least that's most people's intentions, right? And so you've got to widen the view a little bit and understand some of the moves that are being made on their behalfs for their business. And I mean, I've said it too. I mean, there's nobody out there right now outside of Gary Keller, in my opinion, that's in the ring fighting for real estate agents, which is the reason I'll never go anywhere else. I've been recruited by the rev share companies as a team leader. They would love for me to be there. And sure, I could have bitten on that and had a magnificent rev share tree. But then you go back to purpose, and it wasn't the purpose. The reason for me is not for the money. The reason for me is to help as many people as I can. And this company is the vehicle to do that for everybody, regardless of a title. And I think that's the other thing is have ownership, man. There's extreme ownership here. And, at the edge of that ownership is where, your world can get really different if you act as a stakeholder. And, and we are one, whether or not you're getting profit share, you're a stakeholder in this company.
Oh, girl, you speaking my language. I'm getting excited.
Just take ownership, man, and partner up. And I want you to know this too. I mean, your leadership, they go to bed at night thinking about how they can help you every single day, and they do care. And you know, we acknowledge we're not perfect and we don't have it all figured out, but we are relentless. We're not going to give up, and we want to be the best place to do business.
Yeah, you're the best, Manda. Thank you for, I mean, look, these are the conversations that restore, you know, my excitement and faith around KW. I mean, I need my cup filled, you know, too. And so, you know, you guys have always, you and Ladd and all the leadership there. Ladd, obviously, I'm a huge lover of, and he was very instrumental in, you know, helping me see some of the bigger picture stuff that was happening within KW. And, you know, we have to remember that when you have this interdependent model that we have at KW, there are two sides of it, right? There's the agent side, and then there's the owner side. And it has to be a business worth owning for our owners. It has to be a career worth having for our leaders, and it has to be a career worth having for our agents. And I think, you know, now that I see the bigger picture, and now that some of these changes have happened at KW, I'm more excited than ever and confident that as a group of stakeholders, KW is going to come roaring back. I mean, I really feel like, not that we're dead or anything, okay, but I just feel like this is another moment in time where KW, we were born in a shift. We took over the industry in 2007 and 2008, and here comes the next moment, right? The fight for the future of your profession, and there's only one company that's leading the charge of that. And if we get more of our agents to buy into it, all of our profit share legacies will be solidified, you know? So thank you for your time today. I will tell all my leadership on this call, I have a much greater appreciation for what life is like on this side. I know I've probably, you know, pissed off a lot of people over the years. I apologize. I didn't know. I didn't know what I didn't know. I understand now, after, by the way, my 5th day as team leader or interim team leader. I understand the challenges you guys face. I hope you forgive me for my ignorance over the years, but I'm doing this because I want to become a better leader in KW. I want to understand, you know, really the full picture. And so the more I learn on this side, the more excited I am. And man, it's people like you that, you know, get me so excited about who we are as a company. So thank you for taking time at the end of your very long day.
It was my honor.
Here with us. And I can't wait to see you soon. All right.
Yes, it was my honor. Thank you for having me, and I really appreciate it. And I know I'll see you soon.
You will, Amanda. Thank you so much.